Before I begin with this review, I want to say, please watch this video to the end and please subscribe. And I hope you enjoy the video. So, Bofuri episode 2, we have Kaide, which is actually Maple, meeting up with her friend Risa. And so they're talking about it at school, and Risa's like, oh, you really have fallen in love with this game, haven't you? And then Kaide mentions, well, there's going to be this special event coming up. And it's like, man, I wish I could go and be a part of the event. And then it skips forward to the event time, and then so Kaide gets teleported to the event space, and she's by herself, and she's like, "Whew, thank goodness I'm by myself. I'm not in the middle of battle." So in sort of a girly moe way, she starts drawing on the sand, just passing her time. When really and then all of a sudden this creep comes up behind her. This sort of like Ricky Suave, just full of himself, comes up and he's like, "Sorry, girl, but I'm gonna have to take you out now." And then he's all of a sudden he switches. He's like, "No, I attack!" And so he goes, and then she blocks his attack with her shield, and then it's like all she has to do is like nudge him with her shield, and the shield has a special ability where it just um absorbs the person, and he's dead instantly. And then three more people come in, and it's like they charge at her, and she uses like the paralyzed shoot, and it paralyzes them. And then she goes around and says sorry, and just nudges them, and they disappear. And it's like, wow, just awesome. And then we see from the main lobby that there's these big screen TVs where the people can view the event, and people are like, wow, how can she do that? And isn't that shield overpowered? Wow. And so then we get a montage of these people just running at her, and she's just constantly just boop, 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 boop. And then all of a sudden it goes back into like normal time, and we get a commentary from the spectators. And the spectators are like, after 100 shields, she's still going. This is insane. And so then a bunch of people get around her, and they say, "This time we've got you." And then what she does is she takes her sword out, and it's like a specialized skill, and she calls up a hydra full of poison, and it's like they're like poison, and she uses the paralyzer shoot to paralyze them, and it just takes out a bunch of people all at once, and you hear the spectators say, "Man, she's scary." And then we go a little bit longer, and then the mascot of the game comes and says, "There's only 1 hour left, and you're in third place." And she's super excited. But the catch is that the top 3 players' locations are listed on the map now. And if someone kills one of the top 3 players, 30% of that player's points will go to the killer. So, wow. So then all of a sudden, an even larger group surrounds her and stuff. And she again uses a skill called Deadly Breath, and it goes out with poison. And they're like, again, it's poison, run. And she uses a paralyzer shoot. Again, it just paralyzes them. And she goes around, and it's like, boop, 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 just casually, and they just disappear. And then we go back to the end of it, and it's like she's still in third place, and she's got third place, and she's like, yay, yay. And then the mascot says, okay, let's have an interview with you. And she's like totally embarrassed, like, well, thank you so much. It was really good. I'm so embarrassed. Ah. It's just it was just really funny. And then we go back to her and her friend at school, and she's like, "What? Third place? What? And what level are you?" And she's like, "Level 20." And her friend's like, "What kind of monster did you create?" And then her friend is just shocked that that Kaide basically put all her points into defense because her friend is like, "Look, you're supposed to put your points in different attributes and stuff, and not just be a monster like you decided to be." And so finally, her friend gets to go into the game with her, and her friend decides to be this class called a squashbuckler, which is like it sounds as a pirate. Basically, they shoot out debuffs that make their enemies do zero damage, and but they're really fast. So they're sort of like the shield type almost, but they're more offensive. So and Kade slash Maple's like, well, why do you want to be a defensive type too? And she's like, because because we're two sides of the same coin. No matter what someone throws at us, we'll always be able to defend. And she's like, yeah, that makes sense. And but then her friend, um, Risa, which her in-game name is Sally. So Sally says, but your unique shield basically destroys people without letting you get hit. So it's like you can't gain any new levels. And Risa's like, I mean, and Maple's like, good point. So I asked Lisa, the crafter she met in last episode, to make her a shield, but she needs the materials, which are these fish. And so they head towards like the lake or the lagoon or the in cave or an in cave situation where these fish can be found. But then um Sally finds out that Maple is really, really slow because she put all her points into vitality. So literally, Sally gets Mabel up on her back and basically piggyback rides her to the spot. It's a really funny and touchy moment of friendship. And so they start fishing, and it cuts 2 hours later, and Maple's only caught 3, and Sally's caught 12. And when they catch these fish, they turn into like seashells. So it's almost like Sally and seashells. And Sally gains a skill fishing, and she's like, "Well, I thought you were going to be the weird one, Maple." And um, and Sally's like, "Well, is this enough?" And Maple's like, "Well, I'm gonna continue fishing a little bit more." And so Sally's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna do some deep sea diving," and she dives down, and she finds this door that's locked and chained on the bottom of the lake floor, on the bottom of the cave floor in the water. So she cuts that free, and she follows this maze coming up, and they do like a montage of like countless days they do this where Sally dives down. And another little interesting thing about the world is that according to Sally, in this game, if you're a good swimmer in real life, you'll be a good swimmer in the game. If you're good at climbing trees in real life, you're good at climbing trees in the game. If you're good at evasion in real life, you're good at evasion in the game. So it's all player skill. So that's interesting. I wonder how the game quantifies that. Um, but basically, Sally eventually finds this door on like the seventh or eighth day, I guess, of exploring. She opens it, and then lo and behold, it finally opens up to like an air pocket. And she's like, "Yay, finally air! You know, I finally made the maze, all that, and all." But then this big giant like Japanese catfish is all I can describe it. Um, comes out, and it's like they're fighting and stuff, and she ends up defeating it. But all the time, Maple is just worried because they had an agreement that that after 20 minutes, um, Sally would come would come back, and if she was in trouble, she would notify Maple via the friend chat. So that didn't happen. So Maple was getting worried. But anyway, Sally finally defeats the Fang, and then she washes up inside that air pocket on a slab, and on the slab's a chest. She opens it up, and of course, like any video game, it's like all gold once she opens it up and sparkly. And then we cut over to Maple and her, and you just see Maple's expression of like just in amazement that that Sally's got um a new set of gear, a unique set of gear, just like Maple. So that basically sets up their whole little party system, and it was just a really good and funny dynamic between them. I really like Risa. She's sort of like the smart aleck type friend, like you can tell she leads in the relationship. I had thought that Risa had actually been playing this game before, but apparently Risa just thought this game was cool and so bought it and then urged Maple to buy it, and Maple got in on the game first. So that was sort of weird. They didn't make that clear in the last episode, but it was just so funny the way she would kept on basically tapping people in the head and stuff with her shield, and they would just disappear. And one time when she was in the main event, someone tried to hit her with a mace from behind while she was distracted, and it just bounced off. And it was just so comedic, like nothing can hurt her. It's just ridiculous and funny. And I think it's going to be a good Moe Slice of Life show. Anyway, I think that's it, and I think I'll give this episode a 9 out of 10. And I think um that it's time for me to say my prayer. Dear Lord, I thank you for another day. I thank you for everything you give me, God. Lord, I pray that this video will get a lot of views and there will be lots of subscribers. And I thank you for the people who've made it to the end of the video. And I pray that I've brought a lot of joy to people, Lord, and keep us all safe. And you pray, forgive me for all my sins. Amen. Um, Remember again to like, comment, and subscribe, like I mentioned before. And if you have any prayer requests, then comment down below your general prayer request. Nothing too specific because creeps on the internet or stuff like that. But if you need help at work or at school or just with something that's going on, like for example, J94 could say, "Well, I'm having a hard time at school with a test or something. Could you pray for me?" Or something that's just general. Um, and I think that's about it. I thank y'all for watching. Also, before I forget, if you subscribe after watching this video or during this video, comment down below the word subscribe so I can see how many of you did subscribe. It really encourages me, and the more encouragement I get, the more videos will come out and the more content y'all will get. Anyway, bye and God bless.